For example, in the US of A, we use transgenic sugar beet. We also have prothioconazole, and if you do not control the disease, you can lose 40 to 50% of the yield. So that's your misfortune that you don't have the triphenylethane hydroxide and the EBDCs. The copper, which is a protective, but also it does kill the spore.
Jeżeli szukasz konkretnej wiedzy agronomicznej i chciałbyś poprawić swój warsztat, ten kanał jest dla Ciebie. Zasubskrybuj AGX Labs i kliknij dzwoneczek. Bez ściemy i lania wody.
Witajcie w kolejnym odcinku z konferencji zorganizowanej przez Związek Plantatorów Buraka Cukrowego. W tym odcinku poprosiliśmy profesora Mohameda Kana z Uniwersytetu Północnej Dakoty o odpowiedź na kilka pytań, które nas bardzo nurtują. Hello, Mr. Professor. I have a question to you. Cercospora is a big problem in USA, and how much do farmers in the USA lose by Cercospora?
So yes, Cercospora is the biggest problem in many of the beet production areas, especially where it's warm and wet. That will include places like North Dakota and Minnesota, Michigan, in the western areas, places like Nebraska, Colorado, Montana, to a lesser extent in Wyoming. In Idaho, they are dry, they're not humid, so you don't have it in that particular production area. But it is the number one production problem in the warm and humid areas that I just mentioned.
Okay, and climate is no good to protection sugar beet before Cercospora?
So what has happened over the past maybe 10 years or so, we're becoming warmer and wetter, especially in our production area. And if you do not control the disease, you can lose 40 to 50% of the yield, which will relate to 40 to 50% of your returns.
Okay, it's a very big problem.
It is.
And what does beet protection look like against Cercospora in the USA?
Okay, so for many years, we use individual fungicides in a rotation program with very much success. We had the QI, the quinone outside inhibitors, also called strobilurin fungicides. At one time, pyracostrobin, produced by BASF, was the most effective fungicide ever developed for leaf spot control. We rotate that with the DMI, the demethylation triazole fungicide, tetraconazole. We also had some other DMIs, such as Inspire XT, which was difenoconazole and propiconazole. We also have prothioconazole, flutriafol. These are all triazoles that perform really well. One advantage we have in the US of A, we also have a very old product called triphenylethane hydroxide, which kills the fungus by affecting its energy production system. By using those fungicides in a rotation manner, from 1999 to 2015, we had excellent control. Leaf spot was not a problem then. In 2016, it became warm and wet, and it was good for the sugar beet crop, but it was even better for the fungus. And what happened, the population suddenly reverted from a susceptible to fungicides to multiple resistance to different modes of action of fungicide within 1 year. So a number of the newer, more effective, environmentally friendly fungicides, such as the quinone outside inhibitors and the DMIs, either became non-effective or less effective. And we had to use a strategy of going to some old modes of chemistries, such as copper hydroxide, copper oxychloride, the EBDC fungicides, ethylene bisphenol diacarbamate. Tin also was still effective. So we used those multi-site fungicides a lot of the times with some other DMIs or just multi-site fungicides to control the population. And it does well if it's relatively dry during the July to end of August when the disease is most severe, because then the fungicides in combination will work. However, if you have regular rainfall, it washes off the fungicides, and then you have significant loss. To help us, and this was good fortune, KWS seed company in Germany, they went to Beta Maritima, which is the original beet family, and used the gene for resistance, incorporated into their germplasm. So we have what we call now CR plus varieties that makes them more resistant to the pathogen. So our growers have been using CR plus varieties as well as timely fungicide application, especially in those areas where the disease is very damaging. In addition to that, our growers, all of them use crop rotation. They use corn, soybean, wheat, barley. Some will probably use potatoes, maybe some edible beans. But the major ones will be soybean, maize, and wheat in a rotation program that are non-host for Sarcospora beticola. They do some tillage, which incorporates and decompose the pathogen faster. They try not to plant close to a field that had the disease the year before. So those are some of the practices that they have combined in a holistic manner to manage this disease.
Okay, and how important is contact fungicides like copper in protection? Because we in other Poland don't use tin or mancozeb. Mancozeb is banned in Poland from 2 years.
Yes. Yes. So that's your misfortune that you don't have the triphenyltin hydroxide and the EBDCs. The copper, which is a protective, but also it does kill the spore. We have done some work to show that copper products gives multiple protection. It helps to kill the spores. It helps to reduce radial growth of the fungus, and especially of this resistant population. So it is an integral part of using copper as well as EBDC as well as tin with the site-specific fungicides to manage the disease.
And did you do research with elemental sulfur?
We have used elemental sulfur, and yes, if you were to use sulfur, for example, I said Idaho doesn't have Sarcospora, but they have powdery mildew. So sulfur is an integral part of their management system to control powdery mildew. Sulfur by itself does not control Sarcospora leaf spot. However, if you mix other products with the sulfur, it provides a synergistic effect to the other fungicides, and they become more effective than if you were to use those other fungicides alone.
And do you use adjuvants to protect sugar beets?
So the question is, do we use adjuvants to protect sugar beet?
And how?
And how? So all products, all fungicides, insecticides, herbicides, when they are formulated, they do have some adjuvants inside them. However, especially with herbicide, most of them recommend using specific types of adjuvants for them. So one of the things we were looking at, since the moisture, the rainfall was removing the water from the fungicides from the leaves, we tried different adjuvants. Unfortunately, in my trials in the greenhouse and in the field, we did not see consistent control of the disease using adjuvants. However, in some areas in the south, especially at Southern Maine, they have a recommendation, especially when they're using some of the protectant fungicides, to use an adjuvant just as a precaution or as a help to kind of keep the fungicide a little bit longer. Is it widely used? It's not widely used. It's more or less in those areas that have more rainfall than other areas.
Okay, and are farmers in USA using biological products to protect in beet before Cercospora?
Okay, so what the farmers do, they come to us. We are the university, so we do the research. If you're a chemical company, you have a product, you will go. You have the freedom to go. It's a free market in the US, so you can go to the producer, and if you're a good marketing person, you may be able to sell a small amount. But the majority of them, they will ask you, did the university test it?
Okay, and
So-
how work in the university tested biological products?
So I have
Is
been.
potential to crop protection to sugar beets?
Yeah, we believe in a holistic system. So I have tested for the past, for 23 years, 24
Okay.
years.
Only
I've tested
1
all
years.
different types of products
Okay.
that says they can control it,
Okay.
because the more options I have, the better it is for my producers. Unfortunately, the biologicals by themselves have not been very effective at controlling leaf spot. So they are rarely used in control of leaf spot in the US of A.
Okay, and what are the new trends in protection of sugar beets against Cercospora?
So the trend is, for example, if you were to go to Mindac Farmers Cooperative, they have had the most severe leaf spot. This is 2023, 2022. The first year they started, I think, was 2021. The first year they had about 61% of their acreage in CR+. Now it's 98 to 100%. And the reason is you don't know what the weather will do. So they're hedging their bets. So they have been using CR+ and fungicide application to get the natural resistance from the plant and combine the fungicides to protect the plant as well, so that the fungus does not overcome the resistance that is present in the host.
Okay, and how you looking on protection in Poland against Cercospora when we don't have propiconazole, tin, mancozeb, we losing next triazole like tebuconazole, we lost epoxiconazole, and it's from year to year is very tired to us.
Yeah, it is a very difficult proposition to ask our producers to produce either the same amount or more sugar for a discerning population using less pesticides. It is becoming an impossible task. I believe personally that we can use pesticides once they are used according to the label, because then they are safe to the user and to the environment. There is also science. I always looked to Europe. We're in Poland. This is Marie Curie's home country, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, where she was one of the first women to win the Nobel Prize because of her knowledge and her ability to help people with science. So I am hoping that in Poland and in other countries in Europe, we can use the science in an ethical manner to help our producers. For example, in the US of A, we use transgenic sugar beet.
No, we not have
And
transgenic.
I know
It's
in
very
Europe-
problem. We not have Roundup Ready varieties, and in 3 years ago we lost Desmedifam.
Yes, so you're having less and less herbicide. Fortunately, you have Conviso now. We cannot use Conviso in the US, and the reason is a lot of our weeds are ALS resistant. So
Yes,
that technology cannot be used. So you are asking this, you need to have your scientists to really work. And then the next thing you have to ask the people who are making the policy, are you going to use science in a smart manner to develop germplasm that will help us to prevent or use less pesticides?
it's very tired, and from 2 years in Conviso varieties we look at like we have problem with resistance in Henopodium, to jest lamp
squirter?
squamon, and red rocked pigwort.
Okay. Yes, as I said, we have had issues with ALS herbicide for a long time. So that's why
And in my farm, I'm reducing 15% herbicide in sugar beet in traditional variety.
I didn't get that. You use 15%?
Yes,
Of
yes,
traditional.
yes,
Because-
in herbicides.
And the thing is, Fenmedifam, Desmedifam was probably around before
Yes.
your time, and there are no new pesticide. Number one, because sugar beet is a small in acreage relative to corn, soybean, wheat. So most of the companies look for the large acreage crop, high value crop. Although sugar beet is high value, the acreage is very low. So there are not many people who are focusing on that particular crop. So that's why it's going to be a challenge. The seed companies are doing a good job, but there's only so much they can do. And it does take a long time to produce new varieties. The question will be if and when our scientists use technologies such as CRISPR to modify genes so we can get plants that are using less pesticide, will our policymaker approve that in the EU?
Okej, to wszystko, co by było w tym odcinku. Dziękujemy tutaj za wysłuchanie i zapraszamy do kolejnych.
It is my pleasure to be here and to share our information with your producers.
Yes.
Your colleague, he was a
Yes.
student of ours, so we work very closely together. It's a
Okay.
small world.
Okay, no, we all time working with Professor Woźnica. It's very helpful in working because from 5 years we're looking new herbicides program to sugar beets.
He will tell you that North Dakota State University is one of those universities that is very much into practical agriculture because other than oil and gas, our next large income earner is agriculture. It's over a $30 billion industry. And we do a lot of research to help our producers in North
very
Dakota and the
good.
US of A.
It's very good for farmers.
All right, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.